And there we are. Alrighty, hey everybody, I'm Rob the Builder. Can we build it? Yes, we can. How you doing, David? Now, quick little aside. Bassman won't be with us today. Oh, and hello to her ladyship. I'm very sorry. That's rude of me. Bassman won't be with us today. He's been called away promptly because of a veterinary emergency with his dog. So he's at the emergency vets with his dog, which I totally get. The only thing I would say is I wish I had a dog I could fuss that way over. Yes, I do. Never mind. Now, all of that said, I will. What will I do? I'll do something. Corsair. That was it. Yes, it was. Now, we all know the drill. Yeah. It didn't sound good, but then if you're going to a vet, well, what do you reckon, you know? Oh, fuck yeah. But I mean, I was quite worried about it for him. When I found out, bring the camera around. The one thing I always, when it comes to anything medical, be it human or canine these days, is that they can do some quite remarkable things in the modern era, and therefore, where there's life, there's hope. I remember, now give me a moment, get a few things organised. I remember when one night, excuse me a moment. Myself, my sister, and two nephews were going to my mum's for tea, and when I arrived there, all the lights were out. I thought, oh dear, what's going on here? This is relevant. I'm coming to a point. And long and the short of it, she had been lying in bed all day, or on beds, like had gotten half out. She used to have neighbours come in and check on her, just make sure she was up and about and da da da, as you do at a certain age. Right. And anyway, she only thought she'd been there for a little while. She'd been there all day. And she was particularly unwell. And we thought that was her done. And somehow they got her back. And they do much the same these days with animals. I think you'll find it's quite remarkable what they can do. So we can hope. But it didn't sound good because he was getting nosebleeds and then they stopped. But then every time he sneezed, they came back. Now, it could be that he's got... Actually, now that I think about it, sounds like he's got something actually up his nose that once removed could fix up for him, which would be good. It should be a relatively simple operation, you'd think. Now, all right, let's get this engine in. And then, excuse me again. Oh, Bassman! You called me just as I was blowing my nose. How's your dog? And say hello to Bass Woman.
Hello, hello. She says hello.
That's the dog.
Oh man, let me tell you, for about 2 hours, he was. You think there'd been 5 people murdered here?
Oh, really? Like that?
Man, it just started bleeding and wouldn't stop. We put cold compresses
Wow.
on it.
Wow.
And we got like 3 blood clots out of it, and
Jesus. That's
he's done
mucky.
this like he's done this like 3 times in the last year. So we're going to have to wind up taking him to the vet to find out what's going on.
Yeah, that is the way to roll. That's a muck. That's not sounding real flash.
No,
But
man. I mean, it was
as I
bad.
was
I mean,
just saying to the others, these days, of course, something can be quite serious, and it's not a biggie because just the way medicine has progressed.
and then finally, I took him outside, and we walked around the yard, and it finally started stopping. And so my wife was in here cleaning up the floor, the cabinets, the
Oh,
front of the
dear.
stove, the blankets, because we
Oh,
tried to keep him confined to the kitchen while he was going through this.
yeah, yeah.
And he'd get up
Minimize. Yeah.
and he'd sneeze and it'd go everywhere.
Oh, yeah. That's yeah. Yuck.
So I heard you talking about nosebleeds a while ago. What were you referring to?
Oh no, I wasn't referring to nosebleeds.
Oh,
What I was referring to is the progress that modern medicine has made,
oh, I know,
both.
right?
And so, in that regards, because when I first got your message, I'm thinking this is not sounding real flash for the poor dog. Um,
Oh, it scared us. It really
but
did.
I see. And anyway, oh wow, that's a really good fit. There's our engine and it's cowling. Yeah, what I was,
Oh, that looks good.
yeah, happy with that. Um, I was relaying the story of my finding my mother one day or one evening, myself, my sister, and her sons, and we thought she was done.
Oh no.
Um, Ambulance called, all that box and dice down to the hospital, and in the end, um, they got her back.
Great.
So um, my take on that was that, well, um, you can probably apply that possibility to a whole stack of scenarios, including veterinary ones.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Modern medicine come a long way.
Oh, yeah. And that's something that, regardless of how serious a situation is, something you can always take some, what's the word I'm looking for? Consolation, I guess,
Hmm.
or get some confidence from. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. Confidence.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Reassurance.
Yeah, that even if it's totally fucked up, um, they are actually pretty able to fix that shit these days.
Well, I've actually got a place called the Harper House here in Newton Grove, not far from where we live at. And it's where the Bentonville Battlegrounds are.
Uh huh.
Actually, in Four Oaks, not far from us. And we've took tours there before. They got this hospital 2-story, 2.5-story house out there that you can go inside and see the kind of medicine and kind of tools they use to do amputees. And
Yeah, right.
oh man, horrific. I could not imagine them sawing my leg or arm off. And they actually said that during the war that they would cut people's limbs and arms off and just throw them out the window. And there was like stacks of body parts out there outside the window.
Oh, I've reason to believe that when limbs were removed in Civil War times for somebody gets a bad injury, their response in the day, cut it off.
Yep, that was it.
That's pretty much what their options were. Cut it off. It'll get better. And if it doesn't, well, there you have it. Never
Yep.
mind.
Throw some dirt on it.
And that's it. And apparently, one of the bigger causes of death wasn't so much the one of the biggest causes of death was actually post-operative infection.
Yes. Yep.
It wasn't so much the being shot that was going to kill you necessarily. It was possibly the helpful surgery afterwards.
That's it.
And you think, yeah, harsh but true. But then what are your options in those situations if you know?
I ain't right. There wasn't any.
Exactly. And for all those soldiers who gave up their lives on the surgical table, that's part of the reason we got medicine the way it is today.
Yeah, true. That is true.
I hear your cat.
Yeah, it's Fireball. She's my girlfriend. She comes up here and hollers at me, talking to her love.
That's it. Now, what I want to do here, some very small bits of touch-up work on the edges of these wheel covers.
So we enjoy anime. There's like this one called Demon Slayer and Chainsaw Man. Well, my son enjoys it. He's into that kind of thing, and we go to they're actually really good. We enjoy watching them. So we went to Raleigh to the Annex Theater where they got reclining chairs to watch the new Chainsaw Man movie.
All right.
And man, I tell you what, being in Raleigh at 4 and 5 o'clock traffic, because that's our capital,
All right. So to you, this would be nightmare shit.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, when I used to live on the main drag in town. Now, bear in mind, I've always been a bit of a city boy, so I'm a bit more used to this caper. But when I was living on the main drag, I'd come home from work at 1 in the morning when the street was pumping. I got real good at clutch control. Through sheer necessity, of course. Because Hindley, that's the name of the street in question, is slightly uphill.
Oh, yeah. That was hell on the clutch.
Yeah. And I'll tell you now, you could tell if someone was driving an auto or a manual.
Oh, yeah.
And these days, because the car I drive, sorry, I'm just checking my edges here, is a manual. Now, I got that, because I prefer manuals, actually.
Yeah, they're fun to drive.
Well, there's that, but there's also the thing of, if I want to open that throttle out and really floor it, you can do it at your disposal, not the car's.
That's it.
Now, there's them who would suggest, this shows some degrees of control freak behavior. Yeah, probably. But at the end of the day, because the majority of cars, of course, these days are auto, When I'm going into a paid car park that has multiple levels, or needs to go up a ramp or whatever, you get these dudes who are creeping up nice and slowly because they can. And to be fair, the fact that I'm driving manual is not their concern. But fuck, it's a pain in the ass.
Very much, very much. And being in a lot of stop and go traffic just makes it that much worse.
Oh, dude. But I could have bought an auto. So I can't really bitch about it. And as I said, my transmission method or mechanism is not really their concern. All right.
Yeah,
All I've done there, and it's a very small thing, but it does, I find, add pretty significantly to the overall effect, is the edges of the wheel covers. Because you'll find they're usually zinc chromate. David has made a speculation about your reason your dog's got a nosebleed. Your cat is gone and wailed on your dog.
Well, I tell you what, these to be a big old dog that he is, he's actually really quick, and we've really never had no accidents with him with the cats.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's been very fortunate. Now we do got one we had to watch, Fireball, the one you heard a while ago, because she's just
you were saying it's a bit rowdy.
She's a ornery-old bitch.
Nah. Now, all I did there was the edges of these wheel flaps, because that's pretty much where the zinc chromate goes round to, right to the edge. So whenever I hang on, let's see if we can get a better. You can see it clear enough, but
yeah.
So that's all I'm doing there, because you'll find whatever your interior color is generally goes out that far, be it zinc chromate or interior, whatever the interior color would be that's going there, generally goes right the way out to the edges. Now, what was I going to say? That's it. Yeah, we used to have I've told you before, I think, about our cat that used to rule the roost when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember once him giving a righteous right paw to the chops.
Yeah, I never done about that.
Yeah. It was the funniest thing you ever seen. The dog conceivably could have just grabbed him by the scruff of the neck and absolutely butchered the cat. The dog was too bloody frightened.
Ain't that amazing how big a dog can be and be scared of these little ass cats?
Oh, yeah, but the cat's got a bloody attitude on him.
Oh, they do. They do.
On the other side of the equation, then when you look at the big cats like your lions and tigers, yeah, there's a bit more to be concerned about there.
Oh, absolutely. One swipe of them and you're done for.
They actually, I discovered something interesting when I went. I might have shared this with you. I'm not sure. When I was at the zoo, we were looking at, or at Minato doing my training. We were looking at the. Here's. I'm about to sound all educated. I am.
Educated.
Oh yeah. We were looking at the scimitar horned oryx. Ha! And they actually got hunted to extinction in the wild, but now are back in the wild because they've actually gone through there's a whole program of breeding to do so.
Okay.
Anyway, but the reason they were hunted was pretty much for their horns. Beautiful things they are to look at. And what's interesting about them is being scimitar, as you can imagine, they're curved, heavily curved.
Okay.
And it was pointed out that there's an actual function for that. Something that we've explained, or that we should try and explain to our the people we're showing around, is that everything has a function. And yeah, you see a lot of animals with those sorts of horns that go backwards.
Yeah.
The evolutionary reason for this is that if a predator jumps onto their back, they just knock their head back and nail them with the antlers.
Ah,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
it totally does.
Yeah, because the antelope, what's the other ones that have their horns backwards like that?
Oh, there's a whole stack of different antelopes, but ultimately, if your method of dealing with a predator is to run away, your concern is about the back. You can see that's why when you look at things like
That's only where cats attack.
buffalo, if you look at buffalo, for example, when they're confronting a predator, they'll mostly close ranks.
Yep.
And that's why they've got those horns that face forwards, because they'll close up. And what you're going to do when you've got a whole stack of 1,000-pound animals frowning at you,
Exactly.
you're pretty much just going to go, oh, I'll leave you to it, guys, I remember seeing footage of that. It was kick ass. This, just get a mouthful of coffee, excuse me. Pride of Lions had chased down and gotten latched onto a whatchamacallit, a bull calf, and it looked like for all the world that yeah, day over for the calf, except at that point this the rest of the elephants have arrived. Not the elephants, the rest of the buffaloes have arrived. And as they've hammered on in, once it's gone to the standoff point, they've done the textbook army close ranks and stare down. And the lions are just going, you can see in fact, they were caught between the buffalo and some water, which is not good for them. And it was like, yeah, they basically got the fuck out of there. Yeah, it's now I'm just looking for face.
Yeah, if you watch any kind of video of a cat attacking any kind of a horned animal or any animal per se, they're attack their sides or from their back.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. I love watching animals. I do, which is why I'm going to have a whale of a time up there.
Oh, you are. You're gonna have a good time.
Apparently, you do occasionally encounter people who are a bit numb-nutted, but it's minor stuff in my eyes. Stuff like the entire site, unsurprisingly, is a smoke-free zone.
Well, great.
But sometimes, apparently, somebody will, not on the bus, but at one of the stops, actually light up. And the advice, what we were told, is in that situation, you can go over and maybe politely point out to them that this is actually a smoke-free zone. If you could perhaps bear that in mind, that'd be great. Now, if they start arguing, they said just leave them to it. It is not worth creating a scene. A lot of other people will give them a look anyway. And the other thing they pointed out, this is not an entirely silly observation. And sometimes you do not want to get between a person and their nicotine addiction. And you got to say, sad but true, yeah. It's a pretty powerful addiction.
It is.
I believe it's actually more powerful than heroin.
Yeah, nobody wants that monkey on their back.
Yeah. Now there is an inherent difference with, as was once explained to me, whilst it is more addictive, the difference is that if you're a smacky, you have to have to completely lose the circle of friends you're hanging with.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you're just giving up cigarettes, it's a bit easier on that. You don't have to do that.
Yep.
Indeed, you'd have them as a support network, well, hopefully.
Yep, I
So,
know how that
yeah.
goes. I smoked for 30 some odd years.
My grandmother smoked until she was dead.
Well,
She
you know
died at
what?
the age of 87. She started smoking when she was 14. However, it cost her mobility, lack of blood flow, and ultimately her marbles because of the lack of blood flow to the brain.
Yeah.
And I believe I've told you some of the yeah. I remember visiting her one Christmas and played an interesting round of who's that? That's Rob, Mum. Who's that? That's Robert, Mum. Because the memory capacity just wasn't there.
Oh, darn.
Which is I have a bit of pantry activation here. However, I can possibly avoid that conundrum. It's not as bad as I think I've told you the tale of one guy whose grandmother, for whatever reason, got doddery in her later years, as happens,
Right.
and as also happens when doddery started trotting out tales of her youth. No problems there. Well, there wouldn't have been had she not been the town harlot. And not only was she relaying this information, but she was doing so in graphic detail.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I remember you telling me about some of those stories. My grandmother, she done the same thing, actually.
Yeah, it's and apparently the drill was that as soon as you saw it coming, so to speak, um, the family
Yeah,
go,
you
that's trying to some sort of distraction technique to try and get onto some other subject matter.
Yep.
They really weren't up for hearing who ran blue and how often.
Yeah, my
I remember
grandmother was
seeing
a
this thing
religious
on,
person.
I think it was Facebook. I saw it was hilarious, and it was put up as a joke as to whether the ad itself in Origins was real. I do not know, but what it was for sale. Was part of a clearance of the grandmother's estate. Antique gymnastic equipment. And no, what it was pretty clear that Granny had been a bondage mistress.
Oh, my God.
Because, or anybody with a half knowing eye would have gone, right, let's get some reality here. This is for the game of bring
Uh,
out the imp, you know? Um, yeah. Now, again, as to whether it was an actual ad and somebody was actually that innocent,
hmm.
and to be fair, it's not impossible. That's a whole other story. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I guess it goes down to, hey, our parents and grandparents have their little predilections too.
Yes.
I remember once being very unkind to a housemate's son. God, that was a cunty one. Here we go. Him and my housemate Simon had gotten righteously hammered. No problems there. Hey, you know, father-son stuff, bonding, whatever. And I can't remember what gave me the opportunity. But at one stage, I called him over, like we were sitting close enough that he could just lean over and or I could lean over and pretty much go right into his face. But the line I hit him with is, Mick, you and your parents had sex. He's looked back at me and gone, yeah, I know. And I've continued to look him like right in the eye and said, and what's seen cannot be unseen.
This is true.
And then I just continued to look in his eye and kept silent. And suddenly he's gone, oh, you bastard. Oh, it was totally worth it.
Damn. Yeah, that's one thing you don't ever want to see or hear. Your parents.
No. All right, what I've done here, there's a clear part that goes on the undercarriage of this one, and all I've done there is paint the edge of that so that I can just pop it on in with the correct color around the edge.
Ah.
I've discovered there is quite a lot of white on my kit after all. I was incorrect. There is white.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Once I've cleaned the brush, I will I'll show you on the painting sheet.
Okay.
It's it's interesting in terms of, seems a little odd in some ways, but hey, you know, if that's the way it was, this is what we do.
Yeah, the only place I called for on mine was the place on the bottom and the back wings.
Yeah. And like I said, it's very linear. So I'm not sure whether that's more of an ID thing. Because I know that when you look at invasion stripes, for example, the reason they were in place was purely for identification. If you saw them, you knew it was an Allied aircraft. Now, it could be a similar deal with the undercarriage here. I've often thought that I once thought that the whole camouflage thing was a bit of pointless because I mean, it's a bloody aircraft. Come on now. But I'm quite wrong in that. There's actually a really good picture I've seen of a BF-109, and in North Africa, some Luftwaffe aircraft had this weird little splotchy pattern. And if you see it from above and against the African landscape, which has also got this little blotchy pattern, it was actually quite hard to see. Yeah, it was quite clever. I came to think, maybe I got a point there, or maybe they had a point. And also, even when this is a strange example, but it works. Whenever you move scale models any distance, like moving house, and I've done that, so I know this routine. You do it at dark, or when it's dark, because there's or what's the point when there's very few little traffic around. So generally, the small hours of the morning is when you do it.
Right.
And when I did it from Marden to hit where I am now at Maylands, I think it was 4 in the morning when I did my first load. That sounds a bit dodgy, but we'll leave that there. Yeah, anyway, at the end of the day, when I carried the box with the Lancaster in it, and as I looked down in the dark and the patterns on it, I actually realized that in a dark environment, it would be very hard to necessarily tell from above if that was an actual aircraft because of the camouflage pattern. It should have some efficacy.
Oh.
Now that said, how the hell that camouflage is going to deal with the concept of covering the fact that there's 4 Merlin engines in operation as well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you're not really hiding that so well.
Yeah, you can't hide it.
No, but the actual camouflage thing, yeah, that worked to a fair extent. Now, next. Okay, what we'll do is, now I've got some options as to what I'll do.
Well, that's why they repainted the Corsairs, because it went from a aircraft carrier to the beach, right?
Yeah, they now I've got need to tidy this little envelope. Yeah, well they do vary. They weren't just for one or the other. They are a multifunction aircraft. And they weren't just a pure fighter, they were a fighter bomber. They could be either.
Oh.
Yeah. They were frequently used as fighters, and they were quite sturdy. That's not what I want. And that's one of the things. It's a bit like the P-47. One of the things about the P-47 that made it a really good aircraft for a fighter pilot was the fact that it could take a shitload of damage.
Oh.
It was strong. It was much bigger than other fighter aircraft, and that was necessarily so because we want to get into and then
I don't know much about them, so
okay, well,
it's just very intriguing.
goes like this. P-47, if you know the aircraft I'm talking about, looks very similar to a Corsair.
Okay, yeah.
They were put out by Republic Aviation. Oh, excuse me a moment. Oh, no, we're good. Now, I wouldn't mind just letting that dry a bit before I get into a bit more photo etch action on this. Good. But yeah, the P-47 was used more in Europe than in the Pacific. They have a very similar look, except they don't have the gull wing thing going on.
Okay.
The reason they are so much bigger is because the nature of their engine, they're actually designed around the engine rather than the other way around.
Oh.
Yeah. And because of their size, there's actual pictures of them with huge amounts of damage, but still able to fly.
Huh.
Yeah. It's a bit of funkiness right there. And
what was their main objective?
well, what they were another fighter bomber.
Okay.
Now, there was a guy named Gabby Gabreski, who you may have heard of.
No.
Him, along with a guy named, here's a kind of unfortunate surname in some ways, Bong. Richard Bong. Also, of course, Dick Bong. Yeah, look, for me, this is just all a bit too easy to sort of like, there's so many jokes you can be making right there.
I was trying to hold back my laugh there for a second.
Yeah. Now, on the quickly, here's the thing on my paintwork. You can see how I've got the white there.
Oh. Okay, yeah, that's how
And
mine
then it goes
is.
to the light blue there.
Yep.
But on the sides, there is still a degree of light blue to be done. So, yeah, it's a three color operation, really. But anyway, yeah, and I think they both got 28. And Gabreski's main plane to use was the P-47. So it was a very capable and effective fighter. But it also could be used very effectively as a launching platform for rockets.
Oh.
In a manner not dissimilar to the British Typhoon and Tempest aircraft. And as such, they were frequently, or they could be used to fire along and fire rockets on, say, any supply train, tanks, whatever.
Right.
And to give you an example of it as to, ooh, that's looking very pretty, mate. Nice.
Yeah, there's a white that's on mine. It's the same place as yours is.
Yeah, that's pretty much the inherent difference. If you look at that's all the same, but the difference comes at the top near the nose. What it is, I don't have any yellow. Actually, I'll show you here. I don't have any yellow. And another difference. Oh, just popped myself in the head. I did. Here we go. This is actually a really good way to show it. Now, if I zoom in a bit, now this is the one I'm not doing. You'll see how that's got the light blue curving around there and the white sort of curve. The one I'm doing is this one, and it's slightly different. It curves all the way to the, hang on, there we go, all the way to the front.
You're talking about the light blue?
The light blue curves all the way to there and all the way to there.
Mine called for as well, but I just couldn't get that line like I wanted it, so I just left the light blue off the sides.
Now this is where thin masking tape does come into its own, because you can actually bend that around a shape to some extent to get it going a bit better.
Yeah, I did that, and when I painted it, I just still didn't like it. Yeah, it just didn't turn out right, or I just wasn't what I wanted actually, or how it looked. So I done the back rudder wing, and then the two big wings, because it called for blue to come all up in here.
Yeah.
Yep. So I just done the white.
You can do it that. Yeah. I mean, look, there's one thing you can always remember with when you're doing a build of any sort, and it's this. It's your build, and you are entitled to do it as you wish.
Well, I looked up and saw a lot of reference pictures of how the actual plane looked, and a few museum Corsairs.
Yep.
And some of them had the blue, some of them didn't, and that's where I got the yellow from for the engine and the propeller.
Now that's curious. Scope this out, man. For some reason, as to why, I don't know. I'll give you a slight zoom in. That's been left out, but it's been filled in there, been printed in there. That's bordering on straight out weird.
How about that? Yeah, that Tamiya craft is a whole lot more detailed than mine.
Yeah, I'm a little curious as to why, however, I mean, not that it matters. I mean, pretty much just it's a thing, but whatever. All right, I'm actually going to make the wings. And then I'm going to see about putting some photo etch on the side of the fuselage.
Okay.
I will give you a scooch in, as you can see what I'm looking at. This is one of the AU for real ones. Got the cleaner coming today.
Oh, that's right.
I'm actually kind of happy about that. I mean, I've got the place to a good sort of a state for her to come in and just do what she needs to do, sort of a thing. Got
Right.
things organised and all the rest.
Oh, cool deal.
But I mean, there's a little bit of organising I will still do, just because, well, that's just me. But the place is looking better than it's looked in ages, even before she's got here. So the place will look really good when she's finished, and that's happy making, you know.
Right. That's what you want.
It is. It really is. I'd started getting things in line before I needed to get my inspection, and all this really did was make sure that I'd got it done quickly. And you know, there's nothing wrong with that sometimes.
Yes, sir.
Because what I find I can do is sometimes, and I reckon we all do it. It's a thing of I'll do a little bit here and a little bit here, and it sort of drags on, and you get it done, but it drags on.
It will.
And then now we're in the position of, well, pretty much got to, or had to get it together because tomorrow's the inspection. And at that point, it's all pretty strong. Hang on. Let's not jump the gun here, big boy. We apparently need to make some holes. Where do we make the holes? I think I see. Because now, to me, and last time I had to do this were, oh, bless their cotton socks. Or, as indeed a friend and I once discussed at length, in the modern era, more likely cotton polyester socks.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
Pure plastic.
Now, what I've got to do here is two little holes, and I'm guessing that's for the drop tank. All right, this we will now do. Let's see if that all makes sense according to the picture. Yeah. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Alrighty. Now, one thing I will say for Tamiya when it comes to them requiring drilling is, give you a zoom in for this. Look at that. They supply you with nice, clearly defined holes.
Yeah, they do.
And I've got to say, marvellous work, chaps.
It is marvelous.
That's what you want to see. Something you don't want to be going, is that where it should be? You want to be going bang.
I'll be right back.
That's the one. Oh, you do that, man. Yep. Now. Da, da, da. And that's why, because there's our drop tank. Marvelous stuff, that. All right. And if we wish, there's a bomb there, but I don't think Warrington did much in the bombing range. There'd have to be two of those logically. Yes, there are. If I wanted to go down that run, I don't. Anyway. Now our next objective would be to find a suitable drill bit.
All right, I'm back. I had to run to the loo.
As you do.
As I call it.
Look, one of the, I can't remember if it was last stream or the stream before, whichever. I've been going for a while and I had plans to go for quite a bit longer. And I knew I would, but I had to excuse myself. And I tell you, it was one of those moments of, I might be able to keep going, but, And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to be able to focus a whole lot better if I'm not worried about weeing myself.
That's it.
So rather than I said this I then did, which is to say not weeing myself, going to the dunny.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to go.
You do. I remember there was a guy who used to play fullback for the rugby club I played for. And now, storyteller's note. As a forward, you tend to get rolling around in the mud more often than backs. That's because of the nature of the job in that position. Anyway, and I found out one day, or the fullback fessed up, that if ever he got caught short on the field, he'd just sort of like squat down when he thought no one was looking and casually do a piss. And I've just glared at him and said, "You can't. You're not the one who fucking rolls around in the mud all fucking game." He said, "Well, what do you want me to do? They'll fucking go before? Didn't your mother ever tell you that?" But yeah, I wasn't a mute. The backs call the forwards piggies because they're always rolling around in the mud.
Damn it.
We call them Nancy boys because they're always hanging around. They're always too busy being soft cocks out the back to do the real men's work. That's our take on them. You can liken the difference to being, for one that you'd be able to relate to more easily, it's the difference between linemen and running backs. If you follow me?
Yep.
Yeah, we were the big nasty ones. The forwards.
Okay, I got you.
The backs are the pretty boys who get the glory because they score the tries off of our hard work. That's why we pay them out.
They all do the hard work, and they get the glory for it, huh?
Yep. Although every rugby player will actually acknowledge that unless your forwards are dominant, you are simply not going to win. And that's one of the reasons why, if you watch South Africa play, their forwards are absolute cunts. I've got to commend them for it. That's how you play rugby in my eyes.
There you go. That's funny.
There's one guy. He's probably the best South African player ever, or arguably, he's certainly their most capped. In rugby, when you play internationals or even provincials, you get what's called a cap. So yeah, that's just a thing. And he's the most capped player ever. So that'll tell you all you need to know right there.
Yep.
And he's a horrible man. He is 6'8".
Ah, damn shit.
And he would be now what's that in pounds? About 270. He's got a very poor attitude, as all good players would have, as you can imagine.
Huh.
Actually, to be fair, no, he doesn't. In as much as he plays hard, but he's not nasty. In terms of he will rumble somebody and smack the fuck out of them. He will get in for when the enforcement needs to be done. But if he does something that merits him getting carded, he will actually apologise to the player he's done it to. So he's not an entirely nasty person.
Okay.
He's just a comfortable player. Which, to be fair, well, that's what you want.
Yeah.
There was another guy who used to play also for South Africa, and this guy is one of my favourite players ever. A guy named Bassman. Similar sort of a size, except he was about 6'6". And Bacchus, what a filth merchant. And commendably so, it must be said. He was well known for merciless hits. And coming from a guy his size, oh dear. But apparently, he was actually deeply religious, would say prayers before a game, as my father said, is that to for God to forgive him for the sins he's about to commit? And also, post-game, would be playing with the kids, making sure they were having a good time. And you think, what the fuck? So and if you see some of the shit he did on the field, it would seem totally contrary to him as a person. Like one guy on one YouTube channel that I follow, it's a rugby-based one, and the guy did a video based on a survey he had run on Reddit on who were the biggest grubs in rugby history. Now, a grub is someone who's just straight out dirty. And Bacchus made the list. And as the guy said, he seems to have no qualms about using his own head as a blunt instrument of torture if he thinks it's going to take an opposition player out. And it's true. They actually showed footage of him lining this guy up in a ruck and just hammering him. And yeah, that player's going off with concussion. Yeah, brutal. But
now all of them
rugby player.
Are all of them that big?
It varies according to position. He played in the second. Both of Bacchus and Efzebeth are both second rowers, and you need your second rowers to be tall because they do a lot of the jumping in the line out. And being forwards, they need to be chunky because that's the weight in the scrum does matter. So it's a thing. And okay, it depends on position. As an example, a halfback, generally the smallest guy on the field, might only be what would that be in pounds? maybe 170 to 180, 190 pounds.
Okay.
So not that big
Yeah.
per se.
Right.
Healthy size, that's undeniable, but not big. Then you get to your centers. Now, in the modern game, they're getting much bigger than they used to be. And in the centers, they can be anywhere from 100, so 220, up to say, they can get up to 250. Then your backs, also it depends. One of the most famous backs, outside backs or wings, which are generally your fast dudes, they can be as light as 200. But one of the
Okay.
most famous ones in history, a guy named Joan Aloma, who was also 6'5", weighed 260 and was playing out there. Your forwards are much bigger.
Okay. Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
lightest forward would probably be a guy who played in, say, a position called open side flanker. And a light one, note light, will weigh in at 220, 230. A bigger one will weigh 250. Your blindside flanker and number 8, also in the back row, will generally weigh in around 250. As will your second rowers, who will weigh anywhere from 250 up to 300. Now, bear in mind, they're also quite tall.
Right. Yeah.
Then you get to your front row. Now, that's a little more interesting in terms of they're also generally shorter. And as such, just need to get a bit more glue on this, I reckon. Despite that, they are frequently still heavier. And here we need to go. And for example, a typical prop will come in at is at least.
Oh, that was awesome.
$250, but they can be up to 300 as well. But sometimes they'll only be anywhere from, they might only be 6 feet tall. So like these little cubes. One of the biggest ones in international rugby at the moment is actually Australian. A guy named Tamiya Tupo. He's of Tongan descent. He's about 5'10", and he weighs in at around 300.
5'10" and 300.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. And the truly scary part about that, and this is genuinely scary, he's still fucking fast.
Really?
Yes, he's mobile. He can boogie. And when he's got a head of steam up, with ball in hand, it's really good for the recipient.
Oh.
Yeah. I've seen him run straight over people.
I bet.
So that gives you a good idea as to how, some of the rugby players are huge. The thing that's probably a difference between them and, say, NFL players is that rugby players need to be aerobically fit as well. For a lot of what I've seen of NFL, it's very much explosive power is what's more the thing they look at, certainly in linemen at least.
Right.
Endurance is not such a thing because the players give them a bit of rest time and da-da-da.
Exactly. Yep.
Whereas in rugby, got to keep
They have
going.
that raw power,
Yeah.
stopping power.
It's a different style of game. It's similar but different, you know.
Right.
But yeah, the swings on. It is. Oh, and that's a nice looking wheel bay too. Happy with that. Boom. There we go. Get the other wing on. But yeah, now interestingly, in rugby league, which is slightly different, the players are not as big. And that's because it's a faster game. Oh, hey John, how you doing? Where if you were to watch a game of Union and a game of League, you'd see it's very, very different in the way it's played and the way it's approached. The rules are different. There's a different number of players. And I've done a bit of League. It's actually hugely demanding. It's very, and it's one of those things where your aerobic fitness will be tested to its limits. Because what you've got to do in attack, you're sprinting, either carrying the ball or sprinting in support. In defense, you're sprinting up to crunch, to minimize the amount of space they got. And if you're putting a hit on, you're hitting them as hard as you can and getting up as quickly as you can, and then sprinting. And that's why they're smaller these days. But to give you an example of the level of fitness required, I remember the coach of the league side I was training with explained to us that, and basically again to give us an idea as to the level of fitness required, that one of the top league sides interstate, where they were like much higher up the food chain, as part of their training pre-season training drills, were doing 100 meter sprints. So effectively, yeah, you're talking about sprinting 10 kilometers. And the reason for that is because in one game, that's about how far they all run. So they need to be able to do it at top speed. That's what they
Damn.
So it's pretty full on the fitness level. It's a different style of game to Union. You still get some big units, but not as many.
You're right.
But yeah, there you go.
Oh, damn.
Yes.
One thing I would say that's also a bit different again, that would no pads, of course. That's although these days they do allow a soft helmet to prevent concussions. When I was if you used to see some dudes were starting to come out with them to protect their brain. Why would you want to do that? Cool. But and the thing was that everybody was looking and going, "What the fuck is that?" But ultimately, in the modern game, it's quite common because, of course, everyone's becoming aware of, well, there's this nasty thing called concussion. And, you get enough of those, you can be up for early dementia.
This is true.
Yeah. So nowadays they're getting onto that. And I think, well, that's good, And the rules have changed to try and protect the players and all the rest of it. Although sometimes I think they've taken them too far, but at the same time, where do you draw the line? It's one of those things.
Yeah.
And if they're aware that, and in fact, if they're aware that this is the case, they've got to take steps. These are the things. Just get that into position properly, and then we'll hold it for a bit. But yeah, and I know that, for example, there's a guy named Steve Thompson who won a World Cup with England, and this is an example of how bad it can get. And the poor bastard can't remember playing in the final because of all the concussions he's had. Yeah. There's large parts of his playing career he can't remember.
Wow.
And this is far from uncommon amongst the generation of players that were playing that level. And I remember talking recently to the guy who'd been the captain of my rugby side when I was playing. And as we agreed, all of our generation and the generations before who played rugby would have played with concussion at one time or another.
To be sure.
Because the idea of a concussion check was, where are you? What are you doing? How many fingers am I holding up? This is not a concussion check. But it was back then. And yeah, just the way it was. You didn't really think about it. All right. Well, there's our wings together.
Oh, yeah.
Starting to happen now.
Right
All right. How are we traveling for time? Okay, I'm going to go for something minor that I can do. Let me think, because I've only got a little bit of time left, but I would like to do a little bit more. Or I could scooch, and I know what I'll do. Maybe I should be able to get this done. Put the black on the propeller, get the propeller finished.
Okay, cool deal.
It's a small thing actually, because it shouldn't take long. Then tomorrow we just get down to final photo etching, and then I would suggest Wednesday assembly. As far as fuselage, let it dry a bit, put it in position, and then we get down to it. It's all coming together. Now you wanted to build a P51D, didn't you?
Yes.
Ooh, convenience. I've got a whole stack of Mustangs I can build.
All right.
I'll probably go for a P51B.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I haven't got a D already. I'll go for something a little different. The same, but different. Ooh. David's... yes. David has made mention of a lot of, or quite a number of prominent rugby players also get motor neuron disease from the impacts.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it's pretty. What's happened? I do remember there was a guy named. He played for Scotland, Doddy Weir, and he actually got a charity started after him because he developed motor neuron disease. Yeah, totally fucked over by that. Yeah.
Wow.
So, look, as a game, I love it, but you don't want people paying that price.
Yeah, I know.
But I'd be unsurprised if similar deals did not go down with NFL players, though.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, just one thing I have actually done a bit of, well, over here it's called gridiron, but I have actually done a bit very early on in my rugby time. And I discovered, it was kind of interesting, that in many ways, the pads were actually kind of ineffective because people weren't hammering in thinking they were bloody Superman.
Oh, shit, yeah.
And in rugby, because you don't have any pads, you sort of set your body the right way to make sure you, yes, maximize your impact on the opposing player because, hey, they deserve it, right? But also to minimize the damage on you. As an example, when you're tackling in rugby, the way they teach you to tackle is around the legs. If the legs are together, can't run, down they go. Now, I never used to like that as a player, largely because, as far as when the tackling came, the notion of knees in motion near my head, fuck off.
Oh, absolutely.
So what I used to do, my way around that, particularly given I'm at 6 foot, I'm taller than quite a few people I was tackling, was to go for the hips or rib cage. My theory.
You got the leg from behind, you risk getting kicked in the face.
That's actually easier as well. Because what you do there is you go for the floating ribs. That was my go-to methodology, floating ribs and hips. Now, the reason for that, one, I knew they'd sort of have a bit more cushion in them because they'd have the wind knocked out of them. Two, I didn't have to get near those nasty moving body parts. Fuck that. And then, finally, well, you know, if it means that I'm hurting an opposition player, you can't tell me that's a bad outcome. Certainly when it comes to a body contact sport, let's face it, that's half the trick.
Yeah.
You want to leave them wary of coming near.
That's right.
So a lot of the first up hit ups during a game, because what that means is basically when you get a penalty and you're better off running it, the job would often be given to me. One of the things I used to like doing, you go and say, you were a cunt of a player, weren't you? I would actually ideally single out one particular player who I'd hammer repeatedly. And then when I thought he was getting a little bit twitchy, I'd hit him one more time. And then I'd move on to the next one.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, the look of, oh, not again, on their faces was worth money of its own, I tell you.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
Actually, if you want to see some, actually, I should send you the clip. I'll find it and send it to you. It's one poor guy, whether by design or just misfortune, this one poor sucker getting absolutely hammered repeatedly and by the Samoan brothers, one of whom I rate as possibly the most ferocious person who ever was taken to a rugby field. And I'm not exaggerating either. A guy named Henry Tuialagi. He was a beast. Anyway, it's a club level, and I got to give it to the guy. He takes the punishment and keeps going.
Takes it like a man and keeps getting it, huh?
Oh, yeah, man. What's the saying? It's not how often you get knocked down, it's how often you get back up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that in spades.
That is true.
You almost feel sorry for him.
Well,
Now, the reason you don't feel sorry for him is because he's English. Yep, story ends.
damn it.
I can say that because David's Welsh, not English. Now, so I remember I used to play rugby with a guy who was Welsh, but he'd gone to English public school. Public schools are basically their word for private education. I'm not quite sure why they're called public schools when they're really not. We'll leave that there. Anyway, but he had the relevant sort of a upper crust voice, as one would expect, and the sort of more demure attitude that you would perhaps anticipate as well. And one of the things that used to be done was considered quite the dumb thing, certainly in our change rooms, was if I wasn't pissed off enough before a game, I used to get my captain to slap me around.
Yeah, maybe you tell me about that.
Yeah, you should have seen the look on the guy's face when he first saw it in operation. He was quite shocked. That was quite apparent. It was like almost like, what the devil are these Australians doing? Yeah, I play better when I'm angry. I think after maybe the second game, just figured just stop batting an eyelid and let them get on with it. He was interesting to talk to because his actual job. He was a doctor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and his big role at the hospital was he would be called in for emergency surgeries. So, like bad car crash, in he gets. He was an emergency department surgeon, and he explained to me that when they get the call, they have what's called the golden hour.
Oh, yeah.
Which is they need to get everything done in that hour, because that can be the difference between life and death, quite simply. You probably may have heard that term before, but yeah, it's it made when as he explained, it was like, yeah, well, that's how it rolls.
Yep. Have a limited time.
Yeah, you can't afford. I remember once we were at the club, and you got the call, and this is kind of funny. Because the thing was, he said he'd give me a lift, all being well. But you see, my bus stop was pretty much right next to the hospital. So, as luck would have it, I still got my lift, and he got to the surgery.
Huh.
Playing at a uni club, a lot of that sort of stuff happened, as you would be unsurprised. You got lots of doctors and stuff there, sort of thing.
Right.
And there was one story. This is kind of excruciating, but yeah. A guy had broken his ankle at the club during a game, and to get him past all the waiting in the waiting room, because one of the club members who was actually due to play A grade that day and did, but that's another story, was an anaesthetist there. He's gone in just to get him past the line and said, "Oh, I'm Dr. Lang, rah, rah, rah. I'm just getting rah, rah." Basically got him straight in. Now, unfortunately, because he was an anaesthetist, the doctor who saw him assumed he'd be anaesthetized. Went to start doing shit, and I'm told the scream could be heard the whole length of the hallway.
Damn it.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah, pretty brutal. I mean, I've had experiences where anesthetic doesn't work either, and it's pretty nasty.
Yeah, I've never had to witness that, so.
I've had a few things where I had to have a toenail removed on one occasion. The anesthetic didn't work. That was agony. I had a similar thing with had a dental situation where the anesthetic didn't work, and that wasn't a whole lot of fun either. But never mind.
Well, I think my wife can relate to that. She actually stumped her toe in the house earlier today and tore half her big toenail off.
Ooh.
That's what she said. She came in there to the kitchen and she had her, got
Ooh.
socks on her feet. And she said, "Look at my big toe."
Ooh.
You can see the nail. You can see the nail pushed up under her sock.
Ooh.
I said, "That's your toenail?" She said, "Yes."
Was her toenail.
Was her toenail.
Ouch. Yeah. Ooh. I hope you're traveling all right with it now, is she?
Yeah, she clipped it off, and she's a trooper. She's tough.
Whew, never a pleasant experience. Yeah, what it was with mine was that I had a dead toenail, and it was pretty unsightly and da 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 da.
Yeah, so we've had to deal with it before too.
And doctors come in, put in anesthetic, should have worked. Started cutting it off, and now I'm feeling that.
Oh shit!
Put in a bit more anesthetic, still feeling that. And basically, I eventually got to the point where all I've been able to do is look at him and just say, "Just do it." And we had to slowly work our way around through with me basically gritting my teeth. And then once we'd gotten all the nail cut, it was still connected by a piece of skin on the middle of it.
Damn.
And the nurse and the doctor just looked at me with this look of, "What are we going to do?" And I've just looked at him and said, "Just do it."
You've come that far, right?
What was the point in stopping then?
Absolutely.
And yeah, but by the time that we'd reached the point of where I just gritted my teeth, they put so much anesthetic in, the toe was actually swollen and red.
I bet it was.
And it just didn't work. Anyway, on a more cheerful note, propeller.
Oh yeah. Yep, that's looking good.
Wings.
Yeah, that looks good in there.
What else did I do today? Engine.
Yeah, that blue looks real good in there.
Yeah, and it extends just a little bit past, so we get nice clearance for our propeller. And I think that was all I did today. Now I'll give you a bit of solo time, so as you can give me a moment. Here we go. Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, on my 69 Galaxy, I got the wheels put on it. Well,
Nice.
got the chassis laid in it right now, the engine,
Nice.
and I still got to put the interior in it. But I just want to see what the engine looked like inside of it.
Oh, that's sweet, man. Nice.
Thank you, sir. That's
Very
good.
pretty.
It'll be pretty cool when it's done.
Nice one.
Thanks, sir.
All righty. Well, we'll wind the stream up. And all righty. Well, thanks everyone for watching. I'm sure
I appreciate it.
we do both appreciate it. First time viewers, you know the drill. Follow, like, or subscribe. Other platforms. I'm Rob the Builder on Facebook and YouTube, and Robster the Builder on Instagram and Twitch, and we follow, like, or subscribe. Which only really brings us to tomorrow. And I will be on again. And if Bassman, if you're around, yes. So we will be on tomorrow.
If you'll have me, I'll be here.
Thus we come to the line that we'll be back at a similar kit time and on the same kit channel. And hopefully we'll catch you good people then. See you guys.